I went to my friend's wedding. I took 9 chargers. I carried my briefcase. My wife snuck in her, Lady Chic shaver charger, her iPod charger, and all my reading materials for the plane left. And I was stuck with this heavy briefcase and going through security. And when we got to the Drake Hotel in Chicago, I started pulling out all these chargers. And as you know, it's an old hotel there on Michigan Avenue, and there's not enough AC outlets to plug these things in. I was looking out at Lake Michigan, and I said, why do we do this? Why do we have a dedicated power supply for every device we make? This is stupid. There's nothing wrong with your old charger. You buy a new Apple laptop, you buy a new HP laptop, a Canon camera, a Sony camera, you buy any CE device, and you get a power supply with it. There's nothing wrong with your old power supply. Everybody I know has drawers and drawers of these things that are going into the landfill at a tune of $3.2 billion per year. My power supply for my BlackBerry is plugged into my AC power strip in my den at home. My BlackBerry is in my pocket. That power supply, although it's not in active mode, is still sucking power. That's phantom power. Well, I always say there's 3 legs to our stool, right? The first one is convenience. No one wants to be a Sherpa and take, multiple power supplies when they go. So the first one is convenience. That's a problem we solve. Second is reusability. These things, you can use your power supply over for life, and it'll last for 10 or 15 years, and you don't have to put them in a drawer when you buy a new device. And so that mitigates e-waste. 3.2 billion of these are manufactured every year. That's enough to go from my feet to the moon in 1 year. And the third is energy efficiency. There's control and monitoring functions in our protocol that looks at the device, and when it's fully charged, shuts it off. So this does a lot of goodness for the device itself too. It'll extend battery life, so it conditions your batteries properly. It can talk back to you if your batteries are out of scope, if your batteries are out of spec, so if they're hot or if they're moving out. Danger, Will Robinson, there's something wrong with your batteries here. So for the first time ever, a power supply actually talks to the device and monitors, polls that device, every second, and says, are you fully charged? Do you need more juice? Do you need more voltage? Are you out of spec? And there's a dialogue going on, which has never happened before. Our chip goes into the power supply, talks to the client device, and our chip allows you to plug in several different devices simultaneously, charge them, and monitor them. So this is our first customer. Its company is called Energy. This is a 2-port device. So you can plug whatever you want into this product, and through our technology, it will recognize the product, charge it safely, effectively, and efficiently. And this is all you have to carry, a little small cool charger like this, as opposed to 2 chargers. And they're coming out with 4-port chargers and 10-port chargers, and so hopefully the world's going to go that way as well. Our chip that goes into a power supply. But what that enables the manufacturer to do is now scale. They can build a power supply with 3 ports, or 4 ports, or 12 ports, or 20 ports, or 40 ports. So you at your home, me at my home, and my home office, I could have a 10-port hub. And someday, hopefully, I can plug in my HP printer. I can plug in my Yamaha speakers. I can plug in my Canon camera, my Apple AirBook. I can plug in anything I want and have it charged, have those devices charged effectively and efficiently. Success for GreenPlug is spelled adoption. We need a major CE manufacturer to say we're going in this direction. HP, Sony, Apple saying, yeah, we're going to GreenPlug enable for free all of their products, and then you and I as purchasers, customers of their companies, can buy, have the option to buy a product and then buy a charger for life that will work with any other offerings that they sell.
It's going to revolutionize consumer electronics for a couple of reasons. Basically, the way the model works today is power supplies are dumb, undifferentiated products. Each device has one power supply. What we're doing with GreenPlug is we're changing that model to get to the point where power supplies have intelligence, can serve multiple devices, and deliver exactly the right power to each device. This also sort of opens up the possibility of future applications which build on that communication to build much more intelligence in the power supply space. Traditionally, power supply performs sort of 2 functions. It takes AC from the wall and converts that into DC. and then it delivers DC to the device at the specific voltage the device requires. What we do in a green plug power hub is the AC to DC conversion is still the same. We'll take AC from the wall, we'll convert it to a DC level. But then on a green talk enabled hub, we have multiple ports. Each of those ports has a DC to DC converter and can adjust the voltage level anywhere from 3.5 volts up to 21 volts to provide the power that's sort of suited to the device that's connected to that port. Ports are not dedicated. Any device can be plugged into any port, and with digital communication, you'll get the appropriate power level for the device. Within the port, there's a DC to DC converter. That converter has a variable voltage range that it can support. The DC to DC is controlled by the microprocessor that's embedded in the intelligent hub. That microprocessor will receive communication from the load device that will define the power requirements of that load device, and then will adjust the DC to DC converter on the power supply to deliver exactly the required voltage. And we've shown demos of a system providing power to 21 volt sort of large scale laptops down to 3.5 volt cameras. We can show that you can unplug the cable from one device, plug it into another device, and the system adjusts seamlessly and delivers the proper voltage. For the vendor, the value they get from adopting this approach is they no longer have to stock an inventory of thousands of different individual power supplies, all of which cost money to design, all of which cost money to produce, and all of which cost money to hold in inventory. Some of which have a short lifespan because the product maybe isn't as successful as they expected it to be and goes away. The power supplies are then generally useless for everything else. From the CE vendor's point of view, if they have a universal power supply which sort of has a lifespan over many generations of devices and covers many products within a product line, then they have a huge cost saving. So even though the individual device appears to be more complex and sophisticated, amortized over a large range of consumer products, it actually works out much more cost effective for them. So from their point of view, they have cost benefit there. They also have technical benefit in our power supplies have a major effect in saving the so-called vampire or standby power, which is not true for most dumb sort of power supply bricks. So from that point of view, they get benefits sort of both in terms of environmental waste and power and in terms of the inventory they have to stock. So for them, it's a financial advantage. From the consumer point of view, it's just a huge convenience advantage. They no longer have to worry about finding the right power supply for the device they want to charge today. They don't have to bend down in the corner, dig through a mass of cables, find a connector that looks sort of like the one they're looking for and see if it fits, and hope that it doesn't fit and is the wrong voltage, because that would be the worst case. Instead, they can pick up any cable and plug it into any device the Screen Talk enabled, and it works. So the consumer gets really convenience benefits. Along with, they get power savings at home too. But the main advantage is sheer convenience. One power supply powers all devices.